Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Let's get started shortly. I'm going to start with my brief presentation and we're going to head it off. We're going to get off to Ms. Rhonda. Thank you everybody for joining us on our CTE and early college option. It is a face-to-face program offering. My name is Janet Luz. And here we have babies in the room.
Very quickly, Janet, sorry to interrupt you. Do you mind giving the instructions for the interpretation channel, please?
Yes, thank you, Saray. So before we get started, if you need any interpretation in Spanish, at the bottom of your screen, you will see an icon that looks almost like the world. Click on it, it's going to give you an option to choose the Spanish setting. So si necesitan ustedes interpretación en español, por favor, elijan el icono del mundo abajo de su pantalla y le van a dar la opción de los lenguajes, van a elegir español y de esa manera ustedes van a poder escuchar nuestro taller en español. Y otra vez las instrucciones van a estar en el chat por si es que necesitan un recordatorio en cómo poder acceder a ese lenguaje. So voy a dar unos segunditos para que podamos encontrar ese icono. Okay, vamos a empezar. Things to know for this meeting. This session will be recorded. We want to share this knowledge with parents who are unable to attend, and our previous sessions can be found on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/face YouTube. That link will also be in the chat. We will have a presentation with Rhonda Patterson and Maria Ramirez. If you do have any questions or comments, the chat will be open throughout the meeting. So please feel free to just leave your question or comment in there and we'll get to it shortly. Please remember to mute your microphone, be respectful with your comments, be brief when sharing. And if you want to sign up for our newsletter, the link is in the screen. It will also be in the chat. Our next session on Friday, tomorrow, the 5th of November, we are going to have our Eat Smart Move More series, and that is at 10 to 11. We also have that in Spanish as well at the same time. On Monday, the 8th, we are going to have our SEL workshop at 12 p.m. On Tuesday, we are going to have our Erie House workshop on immigration from 10 to 11:30, and we're going to have that in English and in Spanish. Thank you, everybody, and welcome once again. My name is Janet Luz. Our presentation for today is CTE and early college option, the application process. Our presenters for today are Rhonda Patterson and Maria Ramirez. I'm going to let them introduce themselves really quickly, and then they're going to present their presentation. Rhonda and Maria, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. I'm Rhonda Patterson. I'm one of the senior managers in early college and career education. I work very closely with our career and technical education program, supporting our schools and our administration within the schools in the district. Been with CPS for about 23 years, so very happy to be here.
Maria, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Maria Ramirez. I am a network liaison and I support specifically network 15 high schools. And my role is to work with the different stakeholders like our principals, school staff administrators, as well as just other partners that are involved in all of our UCCE initiatives. And I'm very happy to be here. And I've been in CPS 8 years now.
Excellent. So should we start presenting now, Janet? Okay, so I'm going to present my screen. Let me hope I do this correctly. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see our screen. But this just tells you a little bit about our department. As we mentioned, we want to talk with you today a little bit about CTE and our career and technical education programs. Okay. We are actually housed under the umbrella of early college and career education, or what we call ECCE and CPS. And basically our mission is to make sure that our students have various post-secondary options. that are specific to their academic, technical, or their social emotional needs. And we really try to make sure that our programs actually allow students to identify their interests, hone some of their skills, really engaging with opportunities outside of their individual schools, and really working with them to align what they want to do after high school with what they're learning while they're in high school. And so you might hear catchphrases within CPS about learn, plan, succeed. And it's basically that every student has to identify some plan of what they want to do after they leave. And our programs help them do that. And so I'll just mention some of the other divisions that are in our department. I know there's different individuals on the phone or on this particular webinar. And so you might be at the elementary level or the high school level, looking at resources for your students, your sons or daughters. And so within early college and career education, we have career and technical ed, which we'll talk about more in a few moments. But that basically trains students to go into our career programs, learning more about the workforce while they're in high school. We have our early college division, which helps students actually take college courses while they're in high school. Our early college STEM schools, which sort of explores our science, engineering, mathematics, technology. We have various high schools where it focuses on exploring those areas, but also helping students get college courses during their actual school day. Computer science is also a big department of ours. And so every student in CPS has to take a computer science course in order to graduate. And with this particular area, we actually have programs in the high school level for students. We also are starting programs at the elementary level. So we actually have courses and teachers in elementary schools where students can start to work with their computers and learn about technology. And then our work-based learning is our final department. And actually it's a new division for us. We're really excited. Previously, many of our internship opportunities were given to students who were in our CTE programs, but now it's actually going to be available to students across all of Chicago Public Schools. And so we give them summer jobs. We actually work with them for job shadowing so they can go to companies during the school day or school year to learn about various careers. And we also bring in speakers from industry to talk to different students. So just focusing specifically on CTE, what is career and technical education? And so we always like to share with our parents, our students, that really it's a program in their high school that provides them with exposure not only to careers or a different area that they might be interested in, but it also exposes them to college coursework and getting prepared for what they want to do after high school. And so we always say our students graduate with more than the high school diploma because they get all of these other benefits as a part of being in CTE. And those benefits are listed here. So their sequence courses, we usually work with students for 3 years in high school. They start in their sophomore year with just introductory, basic, foundational information in a career area. And then they get into more advanced training in their junior and senior year. And we really try to work with our students that we're getting them out of the classroom. So they're not just going to stay in class, every day, only with their teacher. We actually have them go out for field trips or site visits, as we call them. They, again, have those summer jobs, or they might have an apprenticeship or other experiences. We have them participate in competitions or showcases. So we really try to help the students work with what we call student organizations. And they can actually do these competitions here in Chicago or across the country. Now we know with the pandemic, we haven't had students travel as much, but some of these are even available online or virtual competitions. So they can learn from peers in other districts and in other cities across the US. We do certification. So all of our programs, we try to make sure that a student actually gets an industry certification or licensure while they're in high school. So like in our health sciences, our students can be trained as a CNA, a certified nurse assistant. We have them training in pharmacy. In our automotive area, we have students who actually get certifications on how to change brakes or how to fix basic areas of the car. And so every one of our programs, we try to have that alignment. And we always say it's an opportunity to earn college credits. So that is also a benefit. CTE is not just a program for a student who does not want to go to college or who cannot be successful in college. We align college coursework with our offerings. And, you know, just to think about CTE in our scope, we are actually in almost every type of high school within the city of Chicago. So we're in your neighborhood schools. We're in the selective enrollment schools. Yes, we are in Westinghouse, Jones, Whitney Young, Northside College Prep. We have CTE programs there. We're even in charter schools. We have students who are in our programs from the Nobles charter schools, from Perspectives and other charter schools across the district. So if you look at it, CTE actually is in about 84 of the 160 high schools across the city. And we actually are even expanding that to more schools every year. So we always say we're connecting what a student is learning in the classroom to the world of work. It's skills and information that's really applicable and can be applied to what the student wants to do after they leave high school. In our CTE programs, we really also focus on what we call those 21st century skills or those soft skills for students. So it really talks about critical thinking. Are they problem solvers? How are they communicating with each other or with other individuals who might be in industry or at that college or institution? Are they collaborating with each other? You know, being able to tackle different problems or issues or concerns, you have to be able to collaborate and be a thought partner with someone else. So our students learn about those types of skills. Are they giving back? Are they having good citizenship? And it's always about expanding your knowledge, having that growth mindset, because we know that our students and any individual is going to be a continual learner. And so this is something we always tell our students, whatever interests you, CTE has it. And so this just shows you information about our various programs we have here in Chicago Public Schools. So I don't know if you do know, but there are 16 different national clusters right now in terms of how careers are grouped. We have 12 of those 16 clusters that we offer here in Chicago Public Schools. And so you see the different areas that we have. And under these under these 12 various offerings, we have different program areas. So like in our agriculture or horticulture, we might have veterinary science or agricultural food science or business. Under law and public safety, we have like a pre-law program, or we might have our police and fire training academy. And so a student, these programs are sort of offered in different schools across the district. So there's different programs in different buildings, but we try to have different options for students. So we always say, do you know, like we mentioned, CTE is not just for students who want to go directly into a career. It is also for students who want to go to college. It's for students who want to be lifelong learners and who want to advance and have really fulfilling careers. And so we always say our students have more career options. The exposure they get in our programs provides them with more options. And we actually do have a high college enrollment rate for our CTE students. I was talking with some of my colleagues just the other day, and many of our students are actually the valedictorians in their high schools. Many of our health science students, our pre-engineering students are the top students in their schools. And so we actually have higher college enrollment rates than the district average. Now, you know, with our CTE programs, no, we're not saying that we're higher than Jones or your Northside Preps, but most of our CPS schools, our CTE students actually have a higher college enrollment rate. And this just shows you a few of our students in action. So these are our students in our Business Professionals of America. That's one of our student organizations. So you can see the students, they have to dress professionally. They're actually competing in a competition. It shows you some of the literature that they actually are exposed to as a part of that particular offering. And this actually shows you some of our students who are in our culinary and cosmetology programs. And with this particular offering, we always say we try to have our students demonstrate the skills that they're learning. So the top picture actually shows our culinary students. They actually came down to CPS and they prepared a meal and served refreshments to different individuals downtown to show them the different skills that they had. And the lady in the black and yellow sweater actually was our CEO at that time, Dr. Janice Jackson. So our students got a chance to interact with Dr. Jackson and demonstrate the skills that they were learning. And the bottom picture shows our cosmetology students. They were also downtown providing manicures and facials for individuals to demonstrate that skill set. And the lady all in black, sort of not quite middle of the picture, was at that time our Chief Education Officer, Dr. Latanya McDade. And so again, our students were demonstrating some of their skills to our CPS leadership. And I'll do one more slide and I'll turn it over to Maria. This actually shows some of our pre-law students, and they're actually in the courthouse downtown. I think this is a Dirksen Federal Building, and they're participating in mock trials. So the students actually have to prepare and argue a case. So they're like the defense and the prosecution for a particular case, and they're actually doing demonstrating that case before judges at downtown, and they're being sort of scored on that and demonstrating their skills. And I'll turn the slide over to Maria.
Thank you, Rhonda. So as you can see here, we have, oh, here we go. We have our pre-engineering students. And as you can see, they are here literally learning how to program a little toy robot. And so really, we really want you to understand this, parents and, you know, people who work with young people, right, is that our students are really developing their hands-on experiences, right? It's not just the theory about like, hey, this is how you do pre-engineering and here's a book for you to read. It's giving you that hands-on experience where students are literally learning how to put the skills they're learning in the classroom. You know, they're learning how to apply those skills in the actual projects that they work on in class. Here we have some of our students in the health sciences who are once again learning those skills that they learn in the classroom and putting them to use, right? So learning how to take blood pressure, learning how to deal with patients, go through different medical procedures. And if you actually look at the picture, right, you can see in the background, it really looks like a clinic, but this is actually a CPS classroom. This is not a medical facility. This is literally a CTE classroom. So we really make an effort to build out our classrooms, the spaces that students are learning in, to really look like the field that they're in. So if they're in pre-law, if, you know, we can't maybe build a courtroom inside the classroom, but they're going to go downtown to actually visit a courtroom and get that hands-on experience. Our medical students aren't going to be necessarily at the doctor's office every single day, but they're in a classroom that looks just like the doctor's or like a medical facility. And so those are the kind of experiences our students get to have in CTE. Apart from the pictures that we showed you, and we mentioned those 12 different cluster programs, we actually also have citywide options. And so these are for students who apply to high school that maybe doesn't have a CTE program, or maybe has a CTE program, but not one that they are actually interested in. So these citywide options allow students to apply from anywhere in the city. It does not matter what high school you are in. If you're interested in this, you can apply. So the first one is Chicago Builds, which is a 2-year construction program, and it's housed at Dunbar High School. So students would get to have the regular schedule, and for the last 3 periods of the day, actually leave their high school, travel to Dunbar on the east side of the city, and participate in learning how to weld, how to work in construction, how to work in carpentry and electricity and HVAC and AC. So they get to learn all of those skills while they're in high school, and at the end of 2 years, potentially be set up to join some apprenticeships. Along with that, we have cooperative education, which is a work study program. So if you have a student saying, hey, I want to earn money during school, we actually have programs, Genesis Works and Urban Alliance, where a student goes to school for the first half of the day, and for the second half of the day actually leaves and participates in an internship. Most of them are downtown, they're paid. And so from 1 to 5 or 2 to 5, the student is actually earning money / also working / getting that career experience. Obviously your student has to be on track, but we have many students who take advantage of this opportunity. We have students in the Chicago Police and Firefighter Training Academy, and I'll show you a picture of that shortly. But here our students get to learn how to become a police officer or a firefighter or an EMT. And they literally go through the same trainings that someone in that field would do. They actually train at the center downtown. And students have the potential to actually earn an EMT certification by the end of the program. We have a new aviation program that is starting at Air Force Academy and at Dunbar High School, where students will be exposed to learning how to become a pilot, how to, work in aviation, which is a new and growing industry, and it's still relatively new, but we know that students are interested in it. And then as well as having pipeline programs. So opportunities for students are moving through high school, but have the potential to enter the workforce in some capacity by the time they graduate. So specifically, we have a teaching pipeline where students would graduate from high school and be part of a plan where they would actually enroll at a city college, get their transfer to a four-year university, and eventually get their licensure to return to CPS and have an actual employed job as an educator in CPS. So it's one of the teaching pipelines that we have built, as well as the youth apprenticeship program, where students would be able to participate in an apprenticeship in high school and actually continue it through after high school at the city colleges, and have that experience. And all these opportunities are for free. They're not costing your students, your US families any money. They're opportunities that we get to offer to your students. So as I mentioned, here's a picture of our CPFT students, And as you can see, they are wearing the same uniform that you would wear if you were in that training program. You are doing the same jumping jacks, the same running around a mile, coursework that the people who are going to become a police officer, a firefighter, and EMT are doing. And so we're really exposing our young people to what that career will actually look like. Like if you can't handle the jumping jacks right now in high school, maybe this is not the career for you, or maybe you'll find out that you are great at it and that you have a great future in that specific career field. So this is where students do, they get to train downtown. As well as Chicago Builds. If you come to our facility where we actually are at today at Dunbar High School, same thing. The classroom is not just a typical classroom. Our students are actually building a house right now. So we have this giant 10-foot wooden house that students are getting to build. And there is electrical work that they get to put into it. There is, cutting of wood and putting it together. There's welding that goes into it, So all of the different career trades that we have here, the students actually get to implement and put them into practice and actually build a year-long project. So they're learning all these same skills that they can apply if they choose to enter that specific career field. Same thing with aviation, one of our newer programs, where our students get to participate in modules of what this program looks like, Ultimately, hopefully getting a license to eventually become a pilot and hopefully become one of our, pilots when we're traveling to vacation in the future, So some of our young people are being prepared for that career goal. So I know we've sold you all these great ideas about CTE, but how do we actually get into it? It sounds great and all, but how do I get my students to do it? So to apply for CTE programs, you have to apply for your program. And we really want you to know that applying for a CTE program can really increase the chance of your students being accepted into a high school. So how to enroll in CTE? We want students, first of all, to talk to their counselors. Counselors at the schools, they're the hub of information. They know everything about these programs because that is their job. And so we really want students to reach out to your counselor. If you haven't before, this is the time to do it. And for your parents, please befriend them because they're going to be your resource for this entire process. For our young people, we know that they're going to have to take an admissions test. That is a new test, but it is a test that is happening. And it'll actually be taking place later on this week, November 9th. So please make sure that your students are prepared for that test, that they do their best, that they go to sleep early, that they eat breakfast, because we want them to do their best on this test. It'll be one of the factors that influences if they are able to be admitted into a CTE program. So after students talk to their counselors, take this admissions test, they will have to fill out the Go CPS application process. And I know that will be talked about at a future presentation, but all these graders have to apply to high school through Go CPS. And here's the website below for your reference. And once they're in there, they'll select if they are interested in any CTE programs.
Yeah, and I do want to add on. So there's 2 entry points for CTE. We always encourage students, as Maria said, to speak with their counselor, because most of our students actually apply out of the 8th grade and they choose a high school that has a program that they're interested in. However, if you do have a son or daughter or students who are already at the high school level and interested in a CTE program that might be in their building, they can still talk to their counselor, because the students technically do not start CTE until they are sophomores. And so after that freshman year, that 9th grade level, they can still express an interest. And if there is room in that course, they can still be enrolled and segue into that course in their sophomore year. Oh, okay. Oh, Maria must have lost her connection. So I will go ahead with this next slide, and then we'll come back to it. So our academies actually have seats available to students citywide. So a student anywhere within Chicago public schools can actually apply through GoCPS to participate in our CTE offerings. And as Maria mentioned, actually, I think access and enrollment is another presentation that's going to be coming up for parents through the FACE office. But with that, students actually apply to up to 20 seats. And they can be CTE or another offering. What we always encourage students to do is if there is a school that you really, really want to attend, apply to that CTE program within that school and then apply to that school itself. And that's 2 ways or multiple opportunities for you to actually get accepted into that school and into that building. The majority of our programs accept students through a lottery process. There are no minimum eligibility requirements. So if a student just applies to that program and they have an interest, once access and enrollment, and that is the department within CPS that actually runs the admission process for our high schools and even our elementary schools. A student can apply and then just through straight lottery, they might be able to get an offer. We also have selective academy programs that have a more rigorous course curriculum. And with these programs, there are a few more requirements or eligibility requirements that we consider for a student to apply. We will go through those in detail on the next slide. But those particular programs are Oracle, which is basically one of our information technology offerings. There's a Cisco, another information technology offering, which basically deals with like network or database programming. There's pre-engineering, pre-law, and then our health sciences. So looking at the selection process with our lottery academies, as I mentioned, it's lottery based. So all the student names go into sort of a pool based upon just random draws. A student can get an offer to a program. They do look at the high school admissions test, which is the test that Maria referenced earlier in the presentation. And so basically general education students or students who have a 504, and basically a 504 plan is if a student has a medical issue like food allergies, like my daughter has food allergies, so she has a 504. But all of those students have to have at least a 24 percentile on that high school admissions test in math and in reading. And then for our IEP or students who are English language learners, it's a combined score. So they don't have to score a minimum 24, but they have to just have a combined score of 48. So you could score a 43, let's say in math, and you could score a 5 in reading, and you would still meet the entrance requirement to be a part of that lottery. Our selective academies are strictly point-based. And so what that means is that we look at how the students score on the high school admissions test, and we look at their 7th grade scores. And so what they get in reading, math, and social studies, and I think science is the final class that they look at. If you get A, B, or C, you're given a point based upon your grade. A student can receive up to 600 points total, and then they're just put on a list in descending order from 600 points down. And that's how offers are given out. So based upon the number of points you get for your grades and for your test, you will receive an overall score, and then you might receive an offer just based upon that number. And so also, in terms of the application process, this just tells you all students and individuals can get more information on go.cps.edu. That is our website for Chicago Public Schools that gives information on our application process. A student can submit a paper application or they can do an online application. And we always encourage students, again, when you are applying, all of our CTE programs do have a course code. It can be one or multiple options of the 20 programs that you apply to. And so when you're on the GoCPS website, you will see the programs and the codes for the various schools. Okay, there we go. I couldn't get it to advance. The other thing is just the dates. So we know the application opened on October 13th. And so that application is active. Again, Access and Enrollment will give you more details on how that application process is run. But you, your son or daughter can go into that portal. You will have a code. You can apply for the program of interest. If you need to change your application, that deadline is by December 15th. So if you want to make changes to that, like say you ranked schools a certain way or programs a certain way and you want to update that, you can go back into that portal and update that information up until December 15th. At that time, the application closes. And so, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting your information in by the 15th. So your son or daughter or your student in your school can be considered for, you know, whatever schools they rank as their top choices. Student offers are going to go out in the spring of 2022. We do not have a specific date for the, those offers yet. Access and Enrollment is still finalizing what that date will be, but a student can get up to 2 offers. So they can get a selective or non-selective enrollment school, which is basically our lottery academies with CTE or our general high schools. Or if they apply to a selective enrollment school as well, which is like your Jones, your Whitney Young, your Northside College Prep, they could receive an offer for a selective enrollment school as well. And again, they have to just accept that offer by spring of 2022. Now, every student will automatically have an offer from their neighborhood school. So there are 2 that you actively apply to, but there is 1 school that you will get as a default offer. And so if your son or daughter, for whatever reason, might not be able to apply by December 15th, they will at least have at least 1 school that they have an offer for. There is a round 2 application process that is usually held later on in the spring. They don't have the dates for that, but if you receive an offer in round 1 and it's not really your top choice, or a program that your son or daughter would like to really pursue, you do have an option to apply in round 2 for another school. But if you do apply in round 2, you are giving up your round 1 acceptance. So we just like parents and students to be aware of that. Access and Enrollment also will emphasize that during their presentation. All right, Maria, you want to take the next slide?
Yes. Sorry guys for the internet connection, but I am back. So when it comes to choosing a school, what should we do, right? There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to deciding what school is a good fit for your students. So we want you to take a few steps before you begin this process. And the very first thing is to really do the research. When you go on GoCPS, there is a school locator that will give you all of the information you want about the school. If you're curious about their enrollment number, who the administrators are, what programs they have in the building, right? Really spending time doing that research is going to be really important for your students in really deciding what high school they want to attend. So it's helpful to know some preferences. Do you want to, as a student, attend a large high school or a small high school? Do you want it to be in a specific area of the city? Is there a specific program that you're, as a student, that are interested in having, right? Or that you want your student to participate in, right? So having an idea about what those preferences are is going to be really helpful as you start to narrow down the list of what you want to apply for. If your student is interested in a CTE program and they really want to do cosmetology, right? Looking at what high schools actually offer cosmetology. There are 3 high schools. There's only 3 high schools in CPS that offer that program. So those are probably the schools your student wants to apply to. So it's helpful to know your preferences as you start to begin your process in deciding what high school you want your student to attend. So what steps do you need to do in order to choose a school? Like I said, doing that research, you can do it online. Obviously, we've all learned how to use technology over the last 2 years to really facilitate a lot of this work. But we want you to know that there are high school investigation days, and they're happening virtually, or some schools are offering it in person now, where you actually get to see what the high school looks like. A lot of them are still being offered virtually, where they will give you a virtual tour. You'll get to talk to administrators, things like that. And so we really recommend parents, families, students to take advantage of those. They're happening all throughout October, November, and December up until the GoCPS deadline. So participating in as many event fairs, any high school events, is going to be really key. Apart from that, there are actual network fairs where an entire network of schools says, hey, we want to host all the high schools in the area, or all the high schools that our parents are interested in having their students attend. And they're all happening virtually this year, but they're all in one location. So you have one place where you can go and talk to a variety of high schools about what programs they offer, what is their school culture look like, things like that. And so that's another great way to engage with a bunch of high schools all at one time. And then obviously we recommend visiting our website, which you have here linked below. That'll give you a lot more information on CTE programs. So you can see more about what each program offers, what does each class look like, what does a pathway for each class look like, what is the different opportunities that exist. And so it'll give you a better idea as to what specific program might be a good fit for your student. So we also have some additional tools linked to this presentation that will help you with this research. So here we have an actual matrix and we have it here virtually, but like I said, there's also a link that you can click on it and you can search through it and look through every single program. So you can go through and say, well, what school offers culinary arts? This PDF will tell you every single high school and CPS that offers culinary arts. So this can be a great way to begin your research. If you know that your student really wants to do a specific CTE program, maybe they know they really want to become a lawyer, you can go through it and see every single high school that has pre-law, right? So we can see up here, right, that there are at least 3 high schools in CPS that offer that pre-law program. So this can be a good place for you to begin your research. Yep. And so, like I said, we have a link to be below. So is CTE right for you? What do you think? We really want to open up the space to see if there are any questions that you have, any comments, anything that you saw in the presentation that you want us to expand on. This is really the perfect time for that.
Yes, so if anyone has a question, please let us know. You can put it in the chat or just verbalize it.
All of you all exhibited done by strong, keep it up. You will be rewarded. We see you. You do not have to act inappropriate to be seen or heard. Those of you who are still immature and not doing it.
We do have a question in the chat. What was the link to the document just shown?
There's no reason why we should.
I'm going to drop it on the chat right now. Rhonda, you're muted.
Okay, sorry guys. Maria's going to drop that link in the chat for you. It's for our interactive brochure. If you go to our website, which you see here at the cps.edu academics, career and technical education, the link for that document also is at the very bottom of that page on our website, but Maria is also sharing it for you in the chat. And I think there is also a link in the presentation to the website as well.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Is there anything, I know this has been a lot of information for our parents. Some of our parents are returning parents, some of our parents are new. Is there any type of things that you would like for them to remember out of your whole presentation?
Yeah, and I'll tag with Maria on this, but I think they should just remember that there are many different program offerings and options for their sons or daughters in terms of just exploring or learning about an area or career that they might be interested in. And at the high school level, it's really just a time to explore. It's if you get into the program and 2 years later, you're like, oh my God, I really don't like automotive. I don't like working with brakes. That's fine, because it's better to learn now than after they graduate high school, they've spent money in college, or they've gone into a training program and maybe started it and they're like, oh my God, this is not what I want to do. So it's all about exploration. It's about looking at options and really go to the website, take a look at some of the opportunities. And on the application for Go CPS, what I always like to remind parents and students is you can apply to up to 20 options. So it's really a time to just think about what your son or daughter might be interested in. And, if they're really interested in culinary, like we've talked to a couple of students I did this year who love culinary arts. look at multiple schools that might have culinary arts and apply to those schools. If they're near your area, easy for your son or daughter to get to, it just gives them more opportunities. So it's about exploring and looking at options. And it's about fun. Our programs are fun. Our students love them. So.
Yes, I would agree with everything that Rhonda just said. It is about fun. It is about exploration. And right, we just want to remind you that, right, that everything here is free, right? It's not like we are charging students to use the equipment to like be in a medical space, right? This is literally a classroom in CPS. And so it is your right as a parent to have your student participate in opportunities that are going to prepare them and expose them. And so the schools that are fortunate to have CTE, right, really spend a lot of time in really just making sure that students are taking advantage of all the different resources that they have. Something that we didn't include here is that we do the CTE summer camps where students actually get to do a little bit of that exposure at the elementary school level. So you may have seen our flyers just posted throughout schools, things like that. We have them on the website as well. But we have CTE summer camps every summer where your students get to learn more about a CTE pathway for just like a week or a couple days. And so there's all these resources that CPS has to expose your students. And we just want to make sure that you as parents and community members are really taking advantage of all the things that we have to offer. And please always ask for help. If you don't know, or you're just wondering, like, please ask us. Like, that's literally what we're paid to do, is to help you get the information that you need. So you have all of our contact information here. If you forget it, or, the slide closes, like I'm sure Ms. De La Luz, it will put you in contact with us. So please, if you have any questions or wondering something, or if something comes to you even after right now, like, please reach out to them and please reach out to us, and we're more than happy to help you out and help you out and make sure that like your student makes the best choice for their plan.
Yes, thank you, Rhonda, and thank you, Maria, for this wonderful presentation. All of this information is very, very useful for our CPS students. And since we cleared all of the questions and comments, thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to have our past sessions on our YouTube channel, so please feel free to check it out right there. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you again for being here. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.